Hey guys, it's Asylum here on my new build with my first attempt at Awakened 8 Cyrus. So here we go. If I die, I die, but this is a Lancing Steel Assassin Poison build. So I've been messing around with it a lot. I've been trying to figure out what the best combination was. I've tried the other steel gems. The only time I gem swap here is actually at like big bosses like this. I just killed all 4 of the Conquerors. I've done the Mastermind fight, T16. I've done an outrageous amount of T16 maps, and I've had a pretty decent time. I finished leveling this guy yesterday, around yesterday afternoon, and I've been cruising through maps, contracts, and heists. I've been doing a lot of freaking content with this guy, trying to figure out if this is the best setup for him, what other things could I do. Wow. He just tried to one-shot me. Alright. So, I got my Withering Totems. Don't know where he went. Okay. So, it takes a little bit of setup. So, I'm going to set it up. I'm going to set up my other totem. And then I'm just going to unload all 3 charges. And then I'm going to unload all 3 charges into him again. And he should be phased. Yeah. I'm running the Saviour swords. Yeah, he's phased. So the way this works with Lancing Steel, it consumes up to 4 charges. So when you pop your Call of Steel here, you get 12 shards. And Lancing Steel, when you attack with it, it consumes 3 of them. 4 of them. No, 3 of them. No, 4 of them. Damn, math is hard, okay? Alright, so you just come with this guy. The whole game plan is to unload to get your alright, so pop your totem, pop your other totem, and then unload all 3. With unloading all 3, you want to get your duo swords out. And then you want to just call it back up. Now, it seems a little slow, but the damage output when you drop 81 projectiles in 1 second on a boss, that's just a retarded amount of stacks of poison. Like, it is insane the damage you can do with that. And then with doing it that way, you've got I think it's like a 20-second. It's like a 20-second poison duration on it. So here we go again. Drop these totems. Come around. Drop all 3. And then I've got my swords attacking him constantly. And they do the same amount of damage as I do. So, effectively doubling my damage. I think I'm sitting around 6 million DPS. So, I mean, with poison damage. So, I mean, it's solid. Like, as you can see, the phasing's pretty good. It's a lot better when I'm trying not to talk or mess up at the same time as speaking. And as I've said in my other videos that I've made, I am a terrible Cyrus killer. So, especially during phase 3. Here you are. Nope. Fuck. Yeah, I'm really bad at this fight. So, fuck. As soon as I pop. so I don't have my wither totems up, so I'm being bad again. But there we go. 100% deathless. First try on Sirus. This is how it's done. Hell yes. Alright boys, this build can do all the content in the game deathless. It can do everything that you want it to, and that was probably one of the easiest Sirus fights I have actually had, even with me messing up so much. So here we go. Oh my, that was a really good one. So alright, we're gonna go back into the hideout, and then I'll show you what I'm rocking with the links, how I created this build, and what future improvements I plan on making. I'll be posting the POB to it inside the description, so you guys can see exactly what I'm working with. Now, when I look at my damage, I do not check the box or add anything that has increase for poison duration. So the poisons applied recently, I do not check that box. Alright? I also, with the Saviour sword, you're supposed to add the text 100% increased, 100% more damage with attack skills. You don't really need to add that either. And you can just look at your personal damage and then be like, alright, the Saviour sword, especially like in a boss fight like that where it's a single target boss, only one, the Saviour sword, as you saw, will literally do nothing other than attack the boss. That's it, that's all it does. So that damage, you can add it on for like just Sirus. Most other map bosses and stuff like that, one, you don't need the amount of damage that I currently have in this build, even though I'm nowhere near where I want to get to. But that the Saviour sword, you just don't need to add it for if you're looking at regular map bosses and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and dump the rest of this stuff. Do I need this? Actually, I think it does. I think Awakened Swift Affliction does take the place of where is Lancing Steel? There it is. So I'm looking at my POV right now, and I'm seeing what the #1 top gem is, and no, it's Awakened Vicious Projectiles. Damn, what's this even worth? Ah, nothing. Void of Chaos. Alright, so I'm rocking just a Saviour sword, and then more poison, jeweled foil. I went the attack speed route. You could go like a heavier sword or get the one with the most attack damage, but I just like movement speed, like base movement speed that everything else scales off of, because it's just easier to move around, easier to jump around, easier to do everything that I want to do. So I just went with jewel foil here. You could possibly go something that has even more flat damage to convert into harder hitting poisons, but this is what I went with. I kind of got a really crappy attack speed roll on it. You want obviously a T1 attack speed roll, and then you want for your other suffix there is a damage over time multiplier, but hey, this is what I'm rocking with, and this is what I got. Helm, I just got the enchant for Lancing Steel. It needs some improvement, but it's what I'm working with. I've also got my auras in my helm, so I'm just running Enlightened, Malevolence, Herald of Agony, and Precision. I don't need a super high rolled Precision here. Like, I would like to max this out, but right now, with the mana consumption, and I'm also using a Intuitive Lead to grab both these two mana reserve nodes, because I'm rocking 4 auras. So I've got Aspect of the Spider, Malevolence, Precision, and Herald of Agony. If you're not rocking Aspect of the Spider, then you don't need this, and then you can worry about less accuracy on your gear and just use level 1 Precision. Or use a higher level Precision and... or, shit, I said that backwards. So you could use a higher level Precision and not worry about getting accuracy on your gear, or you could use level 1 Precision and then grab accuracy on your gear, maybe use Flesh and Stone or something like that. That's what I had planned for the build, to use Flesh and Stone, but I have this amulet here that I crafted Aspect of the Spider on. Only problem with that is resists, obviously. It has none. So I have to find that somewhere else, which means I'm using these gloves here that have no chaos damage over time multiplier, So I'm going to figure that out eventually. You know, I want chaos multiplier on here and attack speed on my gloves with the physical damage to attack. So those are the three prefixes, or those are the three mods that I want. Two prefixes, one suffix, and then obviously life, and then resist for the other suffixes and stuff. But I guess we'll see what we're going against there. So showed you the auras. The main skills is I've got Divergent Lancing Steel here because it gives me the 40% increased damage with hits and ailments at the start of their movement. So the closer you are to the target, you can just blast them with this, and you get up to 40% increased damage. Then I've got Awaken Upbound Ailments, Greater Multiple Projectiles, Awaken Greater Multiple Projectiles, even POB says is like the one of the #1 gems here, because I'll tell you why in a second with how these projectiles work. Then you got Deadly Ailments, Awakened Added Chaos, and Vile Toxins. While I'm mapping, I run with Pierce. Even when I'm doing map box bosses, I leave Pierce in just because like I don't like gem swapping. So this build does enough damage that you don't need to gem swap. The only time I do is when I'm fighting Cyrus, maybe Uber Elder, but I think on Uber Elder I'll keep the Pearson just because there's so many ads and so much stuff going on in that fight that it just makes it a lot easier to keep Pearson. It's just quality of life is better. Alright, so then we got the Saviour Sword. I've got Steel Skin, Increased Duration, and Ancestral Protector. The increased duration is mainly just for the Steel Skin here. I was thinking about running, what is it, Second Wind in here instead, just for the shorter cooldown, but keeping it up a little bit longer.
Just need a
I guess it's like only like 3
breath.
seconds, whatever. Seems, I don't know, it seems to work just fine. Gloves, I've got my Wither Totem, Spell Totem, Multiple Totem, Wither, and then I've got Withering Step in here as well. Unlike Flame Dash, the totem setup does not make this a totem. It's kind of funny to see Flame Dash totems on accident when you put it in the wrong slot, but hey. The chest piece, I wanted to get the dual dodge on here, but I ended up actually getting life, hybrid life, yeah, life, hybrid life, or life evasion and max life. And I didn't really care to annul off, or to try and annul off the evasion. Maybe when I get another chest, I actually Hunter slammed this chest. So actually, if you look, I was looking for like just a Hunter base Assassin's Garb. It was like 300 chaos, and I was like, okay, how about I do this? I bought the base level 100 chest for, what was it, 35C? Sorry. Kids doing things in the background, but, you know. So I bought the base for 35C, then I bought the Hunter's Orb for 110C, and I'm like, less than 150C. Or I could buy a already augmented chest or Hunter influence chest for 300C. I think I'll just do it this way. So that's what I ended up doing. I slammed before I Hunter Sorbed it, I slammed the chest until I got chance to dodge until I got a good life roll. And then all I did was slam it with the Hunter's Orb. And then I slammed it with an Exalted Orb and got evasion. So, whatever. That's how it crumbles. It is what it is. Can't do anything about it now. Other than, you know, upgrade it later. This ring, it was just kind of all over the place, but it's got life and then life on hit. So life on hit is super good because of how many projectiles we're shooting all at once. Alright, we shoot an epic amount of projectiles, and like I said, I'll go over that, how that works here in a second, and why I chose this for a poison build. Alright then, I've just got minus mana cost here, makes pretty much all of my abilities cost no mana except for my totems here. They're the only thing that actually costs mana. And then my ability here, so it costs 9 mana. But for the most part, if I'm hitting something, I'll be able to attack the entire time, because I've got this mana node here giving me a little bit of mana leech. Alright, and then mana on kill, stuff like that. So it just makes it a little bit easier because I'm not anywhere near this node. I'm not anywhere near this node here. So a lot of the nodes that you would get mana leech from, I mean, I could grab this node here, but if I'm just gonna grab that little tiny 4% mana leech, I might as well grab this one, especially since I have the intuitive leap here anyway for charisma and method of madness. Method to madness. Alright, the game plan is in 2 more levels. I'm gonna take these 2 points off here, and I'm gonna go up here and put all 4 points into this massive crit node here, and then in 2 more levels, obviously, then I'll grab these 2. It's more damage if I go that route, but I might as well get the damage here than just grabbing a little bit of strength and just a little bit of damage over time multiplier here. The attack speed and just the quality of life from this one with the increased damage is it's pretty nice to have. Jewels I have here, the replicas for that other 9%, and then it's got corrupted blood, which allows me to stay alive when Sirus is beating down my face. I'm a little lackluster in strength and intelligence, so I've got these 2 nodes procced. With a little bit better gear or rings, I'll be able to take those out, and then I would already have this node right now, and then I'd be working just towards this one here. By around level 94, level 5, I should be able to grab this health node here, which should push me just about at 5k life, which will be pretty sweet. Or no. 92, so 2 more levels. So 97, yeah, 97. I'll be above 9k life just by level, or 5k life just by levels alone. If I wanted more life, I could grab this life node here, and then I could fill in the rest of this wheel here, and that would put me probably around 5200 life. If I took out some of the damage, I could increase my life by just grabbing those 3 nodes there. It should put me around 5200 life. So this the tree. I went for the medium Thread of Hope here, so that I could grab the minimum frenzy, and then I don't have to use blood rage. And then I also have the minimum endurance charge here, so that I'm a little bit tankier, as well as grabbing obviously the life nodes there. I thought about grabbing this node here, but it's just not as strong as grabbing these nodes here or this guy here. Alright, so that's what I'm working with so far for the skill tree. Like I said, I'll link the path to building. Boots, leap slam is just my mobility skills in here. Culling strike to increase the attack speed, not really to actually use culling. And then I'm just running with Plague Bearer because, so this build, it's got really good single target, but its mapping, it's okay, it's good, but it's not like crazy fast. So if you put this ability with Pierce and the fact that it stays there, so whenever I pop my things, watch this,
Just
throw it, and it's
catch
still
my
going
breath.
behind me. So if you're running and you pop this and you just keep going, and then you just keep going, you've got damage behind you while you're running through. And usually I'll pop it at like the magics or the rare monsters, stuff like that, so that they just die. And white monsters will all die to Plague Bearer. So it's really simple. The mapping's pretty good, pretty quick. At the end, I'll probably just cut the mic and just run a freaking T16 map just so you can see the clear. But now, the way this works. Alright, where are you? Alright, so Dying Sun. Dying Sun actually gives us a lot of damage. So whenever you get a Curse on Hit Ring, Dying Sun will give you a lot more damage than this flask here. So that's the game plan. Despair on Hit Ring, Despair on Hit Gloves, stuff like that would be incredibly beneficial. I was thinking of going Hands of the Templar with this, just because I can get the plus Frenzy Charge, I can get the Despair on Hit, and I can get all the stuff that I want, especially that attack speed. Attack speed, Despair on Hit, plus Frenzy Charge, and then it's got, I think it's Fire and Lightning resist on it. So then I would only have to worry about getting cold somewhere else, right? So that's the game plan altogether with that. Now, with this steel, blow these charges. Alright, so if you look at it, it has 9 projectiles. So the base gem alone, here, it fires 3 additional projectiles. Then we've got GMP, which gives it another 4, so 7. my helm gives it 8, and then I don't know where the hell that ninth one's coming from. Where is that ninth projectile coming from? 3? 8. Fuck, I don't know. But we have 9 projectiles. Alright. When we put... Okay, so when we pop our steel skill, our Call of Steel, it goes up to 27 projectiles. Instead of just having 9. So that's the second charge, and that's the third charge, because it consumes 3 of the projectiles. I call them charges, but whatever. So while you're mapping, you just 1, 2, 3, pop this up, 1, 2, 3, and then you just keep going, stuff like that. Now why this is really quick is this jewel right here. Where are you? Right here. This Lord of Steel. Call of Steel has, so if I take this out, look at the difference. You see like the animation? It's actually pretty long. It's really annoying to do. But then when you throw this on, it's half the time. So instead of a 0.5 second animation, it's a 0.25 second animation. And it makes it a huge difference, especially when you're mapping, because you barely feel it when you call your shards out. Now in here, this might look a little slow, how it comes up, you know, 1, 2, 3, right? But when you're mapping, you rip the shards out of your enemies, so it instantly replenishes to 12. Instead of taking a bunch of time to charge up, you rip them all out of your enemies and do more damage to them. And then you just keep going, and you're able to cast more. The only time you have to let it charge up is like a single target boss, stuff like that. Alright, but for the most part, that's how that works. Now, with this, and the reason why I kind of want 2 life gain on hit rings is because it's a massive amount of survivability. So, with 27 projectiles, attacking with my frenzy charges, I have 3 attacks per second, which means I'll be spitting out, what, 81 projectiles per second? Yeah. So 81 projectiles per second, which is plus that 21 life gained on hit, with that's 81 hits per second. That's a ridiculous amount of life gain on hit, and it's very good. It's very good for this. So once I get the second ring with life on hit, this will be pretty solid defensively. I'm rocking these guys here, that Series Link boots, along with the quartz flask. So whenever I get my elusiveness, max dodge for a good amount of time. So it keeps me alive. I was running T16 maps with only 4,200 life. I only started getting my life, my extra life, around like 87, I think it was, when I could slot this in and then start grabbing these nodes here. So I was low on life for a long time, but because the assassin's elusiveness, you're able to just do a lot of content that most wouldn't be able to do, unless like max block gladiator, stuff like that. They can do it too. I've done that with them. The 75% complete mitigation type builds can do a lot lower content with that, but I mean, you're still prone to one shot every now and then when you have such low life. Like even now, you can get one shot. You could definitely get one shot, but to fix that, you would just take off some damage. Like I would probably take off the ambidexterity, these 4 points here, and then just grab a bunch of like little tiny life nodes to just boost yourself up, make you a bit stronger, and go from there. And then you can just start filling it in. So by now I would have 1 point into dual wielding, and then I'd continue going up. Alright, so that would be a good way to boost your life up. You could also just deal with the cast time, and then run a life jewel here as well, or a different jewel for corrupted blood if you don't mind the mana cost and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of other ways you can go ahead and buffer this up and make them a lot beefier. I would say for a max dodge build, I want about 5200 life. And that's the game plan for this build. I don't think I need much more than that. I just did a Deathless Sirus, so I know obviously I can do all content without getting, without having a hard time. But so that's how this steel skill works. This is how it works with poison, and it's really sick. But the problem, or the thing that most people might not like about this, is the mechanics. So this build has some mechanics to it. If you pop all your steel skills, and then you just start attacking, and then you don't realize that your charges are gone, you're going to start doing a lot less damage. You've got to be watching your charges, and you'll see them disappear from your back when you start
Just
shooting
need
them.
a moment to catch my breath.
And then if you just slam it while you're on a boss like that, you'll be losing, actually, some DPS.
Low on mana.
So it can be very difficult and annoying to do bosses with, especially at lower levels. I actually leveled with this as soon as I could, so I leveled 28, I think it was. When I could start using Lancing Steel, that's when I started using this. So I did the entire game with Lancing Steel all the way up to now level 92. So it can be done. The leveling path, I started with, whatchamacallit? What skill did I level with prior to that? I can't remember now. It's gotta be in here somewhere. Yeah, see, there's the old Lancing Steel that I had. But yeah, I used swords the entire time. Oh, so I started off using this red beak and the shield here, with the belt of the deceiver, just normal simple stuff. Tabula rasa, gold rim, the gloves. Then I switched to these swords. The problem with these swords is do a lot of damage, but the reduced stun and block recovery had me stunned for way more than I would have liked. Moving on to these swords here was so much better. It just felt a lot better. Just the flat damage alone was just really nice to have, and then I was just able to move through the rest of the content. I ran with these boots all the way up until I hit level, it wasn't level 60, it's the crap that's on here. I think it's level 42 or level 52 or something like that I was able to put these boots on, and then I ran with these all the way up until I was 70 and could use these at series boots. You can use them at 68, but I had my leap slam and all that stuff in them, so I just waited 2 more levels until I could use them. I've done delve, down to depth 300 with this guy. You can do depth 300. The life on hit in delve is incredibly strong. It's just really nice. It's a great quality of life. Life leech doesn't work inside the darkness, so life on hit is the best bet down in delve. Like I said, once you get despair on hit, you can remove this flask and add this. So now, hold on, let's get rid of these charges. So the reason why this is so good, because now instead of 9 projectiles, I have 11 projectiles. Now when you hit Call of Steel, you have 33 projectiles, which is 91 hits. 91 hits in a second. So it scales up massively. And even while you're attacking, if you pop this, even if you have these, they don't like shotgun onto what you're currently at. They go with your, they go with whatever you're using currently. So they'll change with you whenever you pop your potions. Now, why the Saviour instead of another one of these blades, right? Because the Saviour also does the exact same thing as the potions and the skill. The Saviour does the same thing. If you have charges, the Saviour will have charges. So the Saviour doesn't build up its own. It doesn't do its own anything. It follows your direction. It does exactly what you do, like 100% mirror, just like it says. It's 100% mirroring you. So if you have a bunch of charges and you're shooting at 1,000,000 miles per hour, that's what they're doing too. Both your clones are doing the exact same thing. So it's super solid. It works out very well. The combination is incredible. And once I get more damage over time multi on my gloves, attack speed, and then I get maybe a Watcher's Eye, that the damage is just going to be insane, because every bit of damage you increase, it gets doubled by the sword. So every bit improvement you make is multiplied. And I noticed that first when I ended up actually getting this node here. Like I was like just at this node with the dual wielding attack, and it felt really good. I put this node on and I spiked like way higher than I felt I should have. Because I mean, I've used ambidexterity, I've done dual wielding before, but like with the Saviour, like the change was incredibly noticeable. Things were burning super fast. So it's very noticeable when you're using the Saviour sword and just a mediocre sword. Once you get this 27% attack speed, at least tier 1 attack speed, the build's going to change in incredible ways. It's going to be great. It'll be sweet. So the better weapon you have here, the better your build's going to be. Each increase to this build doubles. So I mean, like you're just sitting on a build that has the potential to just scale inevitably. So that's the game plan. Let's go ahead and run a map. And hey, this is Mental Asylum, and I will catch you guys later. Whoops.
moment to catch my breath.